Okay, I really want to get this video out for you guys, but God, we're just still so far off and it just uses so much currency and I don't have the currency. But there's two builds I want to basically talk about. One is the sniper build you guys have all been waiting for the endgame update. And two is this other character I'm working on, which is my Witch Hunter support. This is a really interesting idea, and basically what I'm doing is no damage myself. I can't even run a white tier 1 map at level 88. This character only has 300% rarity so far. I'm looking to scale that higher, but because we are using so many uniques, it's quite difficult to do that. The point of this character is to apply 50% increased damage buff here, 100% damage buff increase here, up to I think another 40 or plus % higher. I've not actually done the math, I should probably figure that out. But even more damage from War Banner, applying Rage from Orb of Storms, breaking armor with Resonating Shield. Basically we are just allowing the sniper builds to reach damage numbers that are just ridiculous. We had on tooltip over 250,000 DPS, so that does not include the Rage for whatever reason. It does not include armor breaking, it does not include shock debuff on the target. And actually, which the funny thing is, so I was looking through like some other builds and all this sort of stuff, and there's a YouTuber called K whose build, I'm pretty sure is the first build I ever followed in Path of Exile 1 that got me into my own minions. So like all of my minion stuff came back from like watching K's guides years and years ago. But there's this skill called Voltaic Mark, which I used when I was leveling my Deadeye. Shock has 45% increased effect on a marked target, so we should be running this so the shock debuff, you get even more damage out of it. But what this character does is lots and lots of buffs, and I'm working on a new idea now. So we're also running Enfeeble in Blasphemy, so we are causing enemies around us to do less damage. But Resonating Shield coupled with Magma Barrier, whenever I block like this, there is a small window, and you can see a buff appearing here, where if essentially like a Dark Souls parry, I think that's how it works. If I get attacked when this happens, I spray things with magma and it gives me endurance charges. There's other skills we can use, for example, Charge Infusion, and in that way your endurance charges actually mean something, they do something. Conduit in the passive tree, now instead of me getting those buffs, everybody around me is getting those buffs. And this is currently how I've got the tree. This is utilizing something which our new minion tree also utilizes, and I'll show off the minions very soon. But we are basically jewel stacking. Jewels are incredibly powerful, and I'll show you all the cool jewels on the minion build in a minute. We are working on basically a way of duo play, so you and a friend can clear all of Simulacrum easily, with one of you being a rarity stacker, so you should be getting lots and lots of drops. But it's a ways off. But I know you guys are really excited, and I'm excited also to show off the change we're making. And eventually I want to do a video entirely just talking about this passive. This passive is broken and I can't believe no one's talking about it. And I don't mean broken in the sense that it's not working as intended, I mean like unbalanced. It's ridiculous. When this explodes and this procs, it just kills everything. Because all the mobs basically have the same amount of life, and it deals 100% of this mob's max life as physical damage. It's silly. And because of grave binds, every kill cancels out kill. So long as I am just rushing forwards and these minions are killing stuff, we're just blowing everything up. And we've been testing a load of breaches and stuff like that, and it's just crazy. Over on the summoner now, so these rings are basically the biggest change in terms of gear. Everything else, we just need better versions. So I need that to become +5. Suppose I could make that a +4. And we're playing around with amulet ideas at the moment. I know a lot of people aren't happy with the idea about running Fireflower, so we're finding alternatives so you don't necessarily have to run Fireflower. I still think it's better if you do, but we'll get around to that when I make the proper guide, when eventually we have figured out and finished all this testing. But these rings are the only really big gear change. We are not running Venter's Gamble, and we're not running Ingenuity, because with these rings, Ingenuity is not exactly needed. So you'll be glad to hear that the price of these 3 items has drastically dropped from 2 very good Venter's Gambles and an Ingenuity. But these rings are called Sekima's Resolve, and they are really cool. Rarity, nice. Obviously it doesn't matter for my rarity stackers in the game. Well, it matters because I use them on my rarity stacker. Attributes, which is awesome. You can slot a jewel into them, which is crazy cool. But look at that, fire resistance is unaffected by area penalties. And what that means is as you are leveling through the campaign, you got minus 60% resistances on all 3 slots. This one ring just completely negates that. So we've got a ruby one that sorts out of fire, a sapphire one that sorts out of cold, and there is probably a topaz one, and all of a sudden your resistances are sorted. So that's kind of crazy. Almost all of this new tech and all that sort of stuff was found by Zonair. He's been working really hard and come back to help carry on trying to test things on the minions, as well as making that support character to buff the minions to a stupidly high level. We're still basically running the same few things. We have started to use Raging Spirits. Now obviously you all know I did not want to use Raging Spirits. I really wanted to be different, but I also want to make sure that I can put a build guide out there that can run all content, and SRS is probably needed. Things like Breach comfortably and quickly. We had a little bit of spare spirits, so I chucked in a cleric or two because these guys are really cheap. And they heal your minions, they revive them and stuff. It's kind of nice, I guess. Otherwise, nothing's really changed. Pretty much everything is still the same. I've Winter, we are now running Pierce, so it's not just a single target debuff. It is an area of effect debuff, which is huge. But the passive tree is where the big changes have happened. And this passive tree is on Mobalytics under the category Experimental. Like I said, we are focusing heavy on dual stacking. And so we've actually managed to path all the way down to 2-pronged attack and resourceful ally. Now there are several changes I really still want to make to this. This isn't actually my tree. Zonair came up with this. There's a few things I would like to change, which is basically, well, to make sense of it, we'll have to talk about jewels, so we'll talk about the jewels first. We are slotting 3 somewhat expensive, not too expensive, I think they're less than a divine each, Grand Spectrums. In total, these 3 are actually giving us about 100 spirit at my point. I'm willing to bet the more spirit you get from life using Baydat's Will on your passive tree, because these are a percentage, these should probably give you more and more spirit. So these jewels are incredible. They are very, very good, absolutely worth stocking. But as you can see, there's even less minion life nodes taken now. You know, you get so much stats from just leveling up your minions. I'm sat at 33. Zonair is sat at 36, 40 is the cap, but 36 is when you get your last reservation cost reduction. So 36 is like the big level, that's really big. And I think at the moment he's got around 30 snipers on his mapping build, which means it doesn't use Bones of Earl and it has Blink, I believe. But I might be wrong about that. So a lot of it is still the same. We are still taking Lord of Horrors, we're still taking most of the damage nodes. But instead of now allocating 2-pronged attack, we can actually go down and grab it. And the most important stat in all of your jewels should be minion deal extra damage. That is the big one. Minions deal increased damage. After that, me and the Discord are still not in agreement on what we think is the second most important. I would say it's minion crit chance. And a lot of other people are saying minion attack speed. And I know a lot of people are saying that minion attack speed is better because if you look at the tooltip DPS, it actually increases more than it does as if you get crit. I will say that the tooltip isn't the most accurate way of knowing if it's doing better, because it's not taking into account a lot of stuff. Most importantly, Eye of Winter. So let's say you manage to get it from the base, which is 5%, up to 15%. It'll take a lot of investment, a lot of gems, a lot of jewels, and a lot of passives. But what this will do is give you 15% crit chance. Add 10% onto the initial 5, because that's how Eye of Winter works. It affects the base before all multiplications. And you're not timesing 5 by 3 to get to 15, you're timesing 15 by 3 to get to 45. And tooltip doesn't display that. So in my opinion, crit is huge, which is why on this build I would like to slot Necrotic Touch, and I would like to path to get these 3 nodes here. I don't really mind if we don't get a crit damage to save some points, totally fine. But that's what I want to do. I want to invest those nodes there at least. And then interesting, what we could do here is slot a time lost diamond, I think it'd be, that gives you spirit based on your notable passives. So your notables are your big ones. So we could spend some extra skill points to pick up Vile Mending. We could spend extra skill points to pick up Grip of Evil. And we could get Heavy Buffer, Illuminated Crown, and possibly even Hallowed. So it'll take quite a bit of skill points to do that, but it'll give you a minimum, we've figured out, of 60 more spirit, maybe even more. So that's an idea. But the thing is, then you would definitely not have enough skill points to come down here and grab this. And we are allocating dark entries onto our necklace. Now the problem is this costs a lot of money. It's 2 isolations. And I know there was a comment telling me to do this. And I said I've tested it. It's 14% increased damage compared to 25%. However, I was obviously testing it, and then I saw a 14% increase in damage. Well, that was an additive 14%, whereas this is probably multiplicative 25%. So probably that was actually doing more damage anyway than two-pronged attack was. So I was wrong. Apologies to that comment, I was probably wrong there. That being said, it is still a very expensive anoint with 2 isolations, so you're talking several divines anoint there. If we could find a way to slot in something called a megalomaniac diamond instead of one of these, and it basically allocates skills. If we could get one that, say, allocates at least two-pronged attack, and ideally deadly swarm, because I think you really need that one as well for the extra crit chance and damage, we could probably save the skill points down here, lose 1 gem socket, and invest all of those into here, and that way you can get your spirit, extra crit chance, extra damage. It would be big if we could do that. So I just want to make a really quick video. I've made this video twice today, but my phone broke and I'm not in a good mood, and I just don't want to do my usual editing, which takes hours. So I thought I'm going to do live commentary, throw this together, throw in some of the sort of b-roll footage that me and Zana have been recording, and just call it a day. It's not my usual quality, it's not a build guide, it's just a teaser to say, look guys, we really are working on this. It's just taken a long time and it's all really expensive changes. But as a quick recap, because I promised people I'd talk a lot about jewels, increased minion damage is #1 priority. #2 priority is up to you if you want to go minion crit chance or minion attack speed. And then I'll say #3 priority is actually energy shield on your character. You can see I have terrible energy shield. And a lot of people are asking, how do you survive on the energy shield? It's all basically thanks to the Hellhound. The more levels you get in the Hellhound, the more life he has. The more life he has, the more he tanks for you. So Hellhound is massive, and I assume Cleric can heal him, so having 2 Clerics out is probably keeping him alive. If he's alive, we're alive. It's pretty much that simple. I hope you're alright with me doing this kind of video. I'm so annoyed about my phone, it is brand new. I have a very expensive case on it to protect it, but it fell in the only way possible that I could, and it landed on, I don't even know what it landed on. It landed on carpet, but it somehow cracked the screen, and it's brand new. I've got 3 more years to keep paying off as well, so I'm in a terrible mood. I know it feels like a super rushed video. I'm sure you get it. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you everyone for watching though, and thank you for listening. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye bye.